Can you name two businesses that you believe have the attributes you look for in multifold growth that you own and that you think will be multi-baggers and hopefully someday 100 baggers?
Yeah. Yeah, man. And my holdings are fairly public on, on Twitter. I think everyone's always figured out my portfolio, and I write about things on blog and whatnot. So, um, yeah, I wouldn't put the 100 bagger expectation on anybody. So, certainly
Mm,
these are not. It's not saying these will be 100 baggers, but I think again, based on what we talked about, the underlying compounding, high rates of compounding, and the ability to do it for a long time. There's a couple that I like. I mean, the two most recent. There's not a lot of turnover in my portfolio, so two most recent. One was Lumine Group, which was a spinoff from Constellation Software this year. That's the latest addition to my portfolio, and I don't know if you're familiar with Constellation. I know you are, Emmett, but maybe our listeners aren't necessarily. But Constellation Software has been a long-term big winner in the stock market. It's what's called vertical market software, so software that's focused on some industry niche. So as opposed to horizontal market. So horizontal market software you could think of, say like I don't know, say like Excel spreadsheet. It can be used, but anybody can use it in any different industry. It's not particularly tailored for a specific task. But if you were running, say, a golf course or an auto dealership, there would be a specific software solution you would use for that business, and that's
mm.
vertical market software. And so that's what Lumine and that's what Constellation does. And Lumine was spun out of Constellation, and what Lumine focuses on is a particular industry vertical, which is anything to do with media and communication.
Mm.
So they've got some interesting businesses underneath that are real. They provide software to TV, radio stations, and all kinds of other things. And they're basically following that Constellation playbook. So there'll be acquisitions, high returns, software business, high returns, a lot of reinvestment. So I'm
Mm.
excited about that one. It seems like it has a very, very, very long runway and a good team at the
And
top.
I stuck it into our tool here that we've built Nexus to see what score it gets, and it wouldn't stand out with a simple number as elite because its return on equity is just not growing gangbusters yet. And it's a perfect example of why you really have to get under the hood. And no number will tell you it's a Constellation spin-off. That's a human intellect observation.
Right.
Do any of does the ROE concern you, or do you believe they're going to right that ship as the business gets more efficient?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of this, the way they do the spinoff. There's some complicated preferreds that are involved, and then they convert at the end of the year. So it's kind of the same thing as if you look at Topicus, which is a Constellation spinoff before this. It's they have the same effect. So the first year is a mess as the accounting treatment of those of convertibles, but next
Ah,
year or at least the year after that, the financials will start to be cleaner, and then people will be able to see it. So right now, it takes a little work. You have to
mm,
kind of
mm.
yeah,
Okay,
but the
that's a
underlying
very
free cash flow is good, and I think the return on capital there, yeah, it's going to be something in the neighborhood of 25%.
oh my goodness, sure, that's what we want. That's the sweet spot. Insider ownership is a little bit on the low side, I noticed. So are the managers and the owners, were they formerly in Constellation Software,
Yeah,
and is
yeah,
there a
and
reward?
Constellation Software, the mothership is going to owns a lot, and when the convertible is preferred, you're going to have that insider ownership,
Oh,
and also Constellation Software has probably has the best, I think, compensation program I've seen. It's focused on ROIC and growth, and that's the way Lumine Group will also be compensated. And the executives at Lumine Group, when they get their bonus portion of it, they use to purchase stock in the open market, the same as Constellation. So you have really good alignment that way.
mm, mm,
Your
mm.
management team is going to be buying shares in the open market with their bonuses and invested right alongside with you. There's no gifts.
No, that's great. Absolutely wonderful. And then, so effectively, it's a Topicus kind of twin.
Yeah, Topicus is different because Topicus is a European constellation. It's focused. It can go anywhere, any industry. So there's a lot of different businesses there. That's really like the constellation kind of a mini constellation in Europe. And
Yeah.
Lumine is different because it's confined to one vertical. So this median communication is sort of vertical, as
Mm.
opposed you're not going to see them do something in trucking or medicine or something like that.